Welcome to Daniel's Sport Podcast, and today on the first podcast we are going to be discussing the actions and everything that the fallout from WWE Monday Night Raw on July the 13th, and this is the last Raw, in fact, for WWE Battleground, as I'm sure most fans will know. And it kicked things off with another great promo from Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Again, Paul Heyman selling WWE Battleground, the pay-per-view, calling out Seth Rollins and telling him that obviously he is not good enough to defeat the Beast, the Conqueror, Brock Lesnar. And of course, Seth Rollins, the WWE Champion, has to come out and respond with Kane. And I liked it how immediately he fluffed up one of his lines, but immediately told the crowd to shut up. And that is the charisma that Seth Rollins brings to the WWE. He's decent on the mic, however, the way that WWE portrayed him and booked him hasn't been great up to this point. So up until Battleground, hopefully things can get better for him. But him in the ring with Brock Lesnar, that will be a sight to behold, and it'll be very interesting to see what WWE do in terms of the result for that match and how that match goes down. The other match that was also announced for Battleground was Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Now, after a couple of weeks of them two going back and forth and coming out and sneak attacking each other, WWE decided to finally announce that match was going to be taking place at Battleground. That's quite an interesting match. I think that Randy Orton will go over and beat Sheamus. However, be sure to look out for Sheamus throughout the night, quite possibly cashing in that Money in the Bank contract. Maybe on Brock Lesnar, but maybe on Seth Rollins. We'll have to wait and see. But those two took part in a tag team match, Orton teaming with Ryback and Sheamus teaming with Big Show, in which Orton and Ryback did get the win. And of course, the match was actually quite decent. Ryback's improved in the ring immensely, actually. The Miz was on commentary like usual and creating a bit of havoc for the Big Show, and I think that triple threat match, Ryback, Big Show, and Miz, has the potential to be one of the matches of the night. In fact, I think Ryback and Big Show, you've got Big Show, the big heater, Ryback, who's very over with the crowd right now, and Miz, who's just, in my opinion, one of the best heels in the company. He just has the crowd always against him. He loves to be hated. And you can tell that when he comes down to the ring. His character personifies that. And I believe that, he is one of the better heels in the company right now. So Orton and Ryback got the win. Nothing too, fancy in this match. This Raw was actually very good. But this match was quite solid. And we'll move on to a character and a superstar that WWE like to call him, that I don't believe they're doing very much with right now, and that is, in fact, Dean Ambrose, the Ambrose Asylum. Now, he had a match, he was scheduled to have a match with Bray Wyatt, in fact, but guess who interrupted? That's right, Roman Reigns. After weeks and weeks of Bray Wyatt doing those awesome promos, the mystical talking that he does, and antagonizing Roman Reigns with pictures of his daughter and coming out and interrupting matches of him, Roman Reigns finally gets a bit of payback, and as Bray Wyatt came down to the ring, Roman Reigns came up behind him and attacked him. Now, of course, they had to do that because Roman had been booked very weak during the past couple of matches that he had on Raw and on SmackDown, in fact, because Bray Wyatt would always come out, cut these amazing promos, and Roman Reigns would either just stand in the ring or he'd get hit by Sister Abigail every time. So it was about time that Roman got a bit of his own back. But for me, it just leaves Ambrose in the mud, in the sand, that he doesn't officially right now as it stands, he doesn't have an opponent for Battleground. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with him personally. I think that they're going to turn him heel. There was rumors that they were going to turn Roman Reigns heel, but I don't believe that's happening. He's well over with the crowd right now after, his tumultuous times at the start of the year, at the Royal Rumble, at WrestleMania, and at the Chamber, I believe, as well, with Daniel Bryan, or Payback, Fastlane, WWE Fastlane. They've changed the pay-per-view so many times, it's very hard to keep track. But I don't think he's going to go heel anymore. I believe it'll be Dean Ambrose. I don't know when, I don't know how they're going to do it, and who he's going to turn heel on, but I believe that his character, they've just lost creative. They just don't have anything for him creative wise, and I think that what they believe to be best for business is turning him heel, which I don't agree with. I would honestly love to see the Shield boys, Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns all come back together some way, all be babyface or all be heel. We'll have to wait and see, because there was rumors that Rollins could go heel at some point in the future against Triple H, and I think that's good. But then if Ambrose is going to go heel, I'm not sure. Roman Reigns will always be a face. He's the next John Cena, they've always said. So what's going to happen with Rollins and Ambrose? Rollins is a heel right now. Maybe in the future he'll be a face. And with Ambrose, it's opposite, potentially with Ambrose. But the next segment on Raw was probably the best. Of course, it was the Divas division. Now, how many times do you guys hear that the Divas division, and in fact the Divas segment on Monday Night Raw, is really the best part of the show? But tonight it definitely was. Now, of course, the Bella twins, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, and Alicia Fox come out. Obviously, Nikki Bella cuts a promo about how she's been the champion for such a long time. I think she's almost taken over AJ as the longest reigning Divas champion. Either she has or she's about to. So obviously, they think that she's the next John Cena in the Divas division. And then Stephanie came out and said that blah blah blah. Nikki Bella, this is not her WWE. She's owned by the WWE, and Stephanie McMahon runs this place, so it's her show. And then she said that the Divas division needed a major shake-up, and I was like, well, I've been waiting for this for weeks and weeks, and they haven't done anything about it. It's been the same with Paige, but finally Paige came out, and guess who followed? Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks, all from WWE NXT. And it was a great moment. The fans were going absolutely nuts, chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome," and chanting NXT as well. All the divas stood face-to-face confrontation, and then all of them, all the baby faces in that ring hit their signature moves on the Bellas and Alicia Fox, and it was a great moment for Raw, and indeed a great moment for Divas Wrestling and the Divas division in the WWE, because I believe that they should get more time personally, but with the way things were with just Paige and the Bellas, the Divas division wasn't very strong. But now that they've promoted a couple of the girls up from NXT, they've got some real talent there, including Ric Flair's daughter as well. So she's a very talented wrestler, and hopefully she'll be given a fair crack at the WWE Divas division and indeed the title. The next match was the New Day versus Mark Henry, who's now a face all of a sudden, and the Primetime Players. It wasn't a very interesting match. Henry and the Primetime Players, obviously the baby faces, get the win. It was pretty funny at the end. Henry did the millions of dollars dance with Titus and Darren Young. But it's interesting to see that the New Day has gone from such dominant tag team champions to now kind of being the jokes in that division. They always lose. I'm not sure what WWE creative are doing with them, but they're actually quite good heels. They always have the crowd booing them. They're very charismatic. Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston, who I think is the weakest in terms of being a heel in that group. But they all seem to get along pretty well. They've got very good in-ring abilities, all three of them. So I'm not sure why WWE took the titles off them so soon, and why they're making them lose almost every single match in terms of coming up against the Primetime Players and other tag teams. But we'll have to wait and see what they do at Battleground. After that was honestly one of the worst matches. I don't know why WWE continue to push this, but it was Barrett versus R-Truth, King Barrett that is, and R-Truth was the winner. I thought King of the Ring, honestly, for Bad News Barrett or King Barrett would be very good in terms of his career to get a major push, but I remember when that tournament or that tournament in terms of the WWE used to be very prestigious, but now obviously that doesn't mean very much because they're not doing anything with Wade Barrett right now. So it's quite a shame for him and fans who like him. I'm certainly a Wade Barrett fan ever since he came from the Nexus, and to put him up against R-Truth and have R-Truth make fun out of the King of the Ring sort of gear that Barrett wears is it's just a shame, really, that WWE have to go that low road in terms of making the King of the Ring tournament and being King of the Ring look like not very much, when it's actually a very prestigious tournament and title to be held in terms of the WWE. After that, it was John Cena came out. Again, another John Cena Open Challenge, and this time it was Rusev. It wasn't a new person from NXT. It wasn't Finn Balor or anything like that. But Rusev comes out, and then immediately, after he came out, Kevin Owens came out, and then as soon as Owens came out, Rusev and Owens had a couple of heated words to each other, and John Cena's just chilling in the corner, and then Cesaro comes out and gets a massive pop from the crowd, and he again, ever since his couple of matches with John Cena, and indeed his match, I believe, a couple of years ago against Sami Zayn down in NXT, Cesaro's just been on a roll recently. And it's very good because he's a very talented wrestler. He's got awesome submission maneuvers like that crippler crossface. I really like that move that he applies. Also very strong, as you can see in the moves in the ring, with some powerful and insane moves. And in the end, this match was just a triple threat match. So it was Cesaro versus Owens versus Rusev, and Cena was just on commentary. And the winner of that match would obviously versus John Cena. And there was a couple of awesome spots in this match. There was a double German suplex, which was crazy. Cesaro hit a couple of hit one springboard uppercut, which was an incredible move. And then Rusev locked in the accolade a couple of times. And then eventually, about 3/4 way through the match, Kevin Owens just had enough. He left. And then it was just down to Cesaro and Rusev won by a super kick, or one of those kicks to the face when Cesaro was down on the ground. And after that, it was Rusev versus John Cena. Sort of a squash match, although Rusev had a bit of offense. He did lock in the accolade to Cena at one time. However, the match was just a squash, and eventually Rusev did win via disqualification because good old KO came out and again cut the promo where he said that no one would take the US title off Cena apart from him. So again, we'll see if WWE Creative do in fact allow Kevin Owens to go over. I think that would be good. He needs to go over, continue his momentum. Otherwise, it'll kind of just be like what happened to Wade Barrett and the Nexus and people like Rusev as well, where John Cena has a good feud with them, a solid feud. But you always know John Cena is going to go over, and then he just squashes them, and the talent is just left into obscurity. So hopefully that doesn't happen to Kevin Owens, because he's a very talented wrestler, and if he wins, it'll set up kind of, even though this is the rubber match, it'll set up a very nice and tantalizing battle at SummerSlam for both of them. And after that, Stardust, Cody Rhodes, finally made his on-screen return following his father Dusty Rhodes' death, and he took on Neville. It was a very short match. Obviously, they didn't have very much time because the Divas match and that triple threat John Cena US Open Challenge match took up most of this show. But I'm not against that. It was a very good show. It was well booked. In the end, Stardust gets the win. It was just a roll-up, and he held Neville by his shorts. Nothing too much. I think those two might go on to onto a feud at Battleground, but they haven't announced anything yet. But should be sort of interesting. Neville's a very talented wrestler. And then it came to the main event, which was the contract signing. Again, Paul Heyman, an absolute wizard on the microphone. He just sells the main event and the pay-per-view so well. And again, Rollins came out. Rollins verbally held his own against Heyman. And Brock Lesnar really didn't do very much, but he doesn't need to. He's Brock Lesnar. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So he just sat down, and eventually they signed the contract. Rollins went to try and grab an axe handle from under the table, and Brock flipped it up. And then the carnage ensued. And eventually, at the end of the match, Rollins scurried away, of course, because, WWE, they're trying to make him look strong, but him running away doesn't look very strong. They're making him be like a cowardly sort of weak heel I'm not sure how good that looks in terms of the viewers' eyes, but we'll see what they have in store for him at Battleground. And then at the end, Kane was on the ground because Brock Lesnar, I believe, I can't remember how Kane got injured, but Brock Lesnar hit an F5 to him, I believe, and then Kane was lying on the ground, and Brock Lesnar got the steel steps, smashed, and kayfabely broke his or shattered his ankle. So that means now J&J Security and Kane, in terms of storyline purposes, are not going to be a battleground to protect Seth Rollins. So it's really now WWE have kind of painted the picture that, yep, it is indeed Seth Rollins by himself versus the Beast Brock Lesnar by himself, and we'll be able to see what happens there. I don't think that that'll be the case. I think that, yes, Rollins will get suplexed. He'll probably, be dominated. He might have a little bit of offense, but they have to make Brock Lesnar look very strong. And then at the end, I think personally something will happen with the Authority and Triple H, possibly. That's one way that they could go. The other way, potentially, is that they could go down the Dean Ambrose heel route, which is what I was talking about earlier before, and make them to sort of team up, I guess. But that makes little sense because the past about 2 years, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have had crazy feuds on pay-per-views, on Monday Night Raw, on Friday Night SmackDown, and they've had amazing matches where Dean's been the face, Rollins the heel, so there kind of has to be some sort of storytelling or sort of explanation for us fans as to why potentially, this is all the hypothetical talk, Dean Ambrose teamed up with Seth Rollins again, but we'll have to wait and see. So I think that's about the wrap up for this Monday Night Raw, July 13th, 2015. So right now, in terms of the Battleground card, which I'll cover on this coming Sunday for you guys on Daniel's Sports Podcast, will be the matches are Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, of course, Ryback versus Miz versus Big Show for the Intercontinental title, Cena versus Owens for the US Championship, the PTP Primetime Players versus the New Day, and Rollins versus Lesnar for the WWE title. But I think they might announce a couple of matches, maybe Barrett versus R-Truth potentially on the pre-show, which doesn't do very much for Barrett's career, or maybe they'll just go down the same route and do Stardust versus Adrian Neville on the pre-show and possibly have another Barrett versus R-Truth match actually on the main card, but doesn't really matter. The card itself looks quite strong. Some very good matches. Would love to see a Divas match in there somewhere, especially with the new guys that came up today from NXT to Raw, but we'll have to wait and see. It depends what they do, but we will have to find out this Sunday, in fact, at WWE Battleground. So again, join me tomorrow, and we'll talk about everything, all types of sports, whatever's going around the world in terms of sports. I will cover it on this podcast, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.